So you've taken the red pill, and now you're really angry at women. Let's help you get over that. My name is Stirling Cooper. I'm an award-winning adult film star, a former high-class male companion, and I'm here to help you improve your sex life. So what exactly is red pill rage? Well, red pill rage is this phenomenon when guys kind of get into this red pill manosphere, learning about female nature space on the internet, and they basically come to the accurate conclusion that they've been lied about female nature for their entire lives. And this can be kind of an infuriating experience. Now, the rage part, in my opinion, in a lot of guys, is directed at the wrong thing. A lot of guys will direct that frustration, that disappointment, that anger, they'll direct it at women. And they'll be like, look, they're the ones to blame. They're acting badly. They're out of control. They're not being held accountable. Hypergamy is on the loose. Hypergamy is, unfettered. There's no bounds. There's nothing holding women accountable in society. Okay. The correct place to really aim your rage is basically at, the powers that be, at society, at the mainstream media for perpetuating the lie in the fucking first place, in my personal opinion. That's where the rage part should actually be, directed initially, and then that rage should very, very quickly simply turn to distrust of any basic mainstream narrative. You see, women aren't the problem. It's what mainstream media and technology has done to women that is the problem. What it has trained them to behave and act like, and how, especially in the West, our systems of laws and structures have basically allowed women to act as shitty as they possibly can without any repercussion at all. I mean, real basic examples, looking at, divorce laws, child custody laws, dudes are getting screwed over. So obviously, I understand why guys are super furious, why they get into this red pill rage situation. I was there once, I'm not gonna lie. When I first kind of discovered this stuff, started learning about it, I came from a place of, naivete, right? And it was kind of frustrating it's super frustrating whenever your worldview is flipped on its head, but you have to make a decision. Are you going to live in denial of the nature of reality, or are you going to have to reassess your understanding of the world? You've just been given a bunch of evidence, a bunch of insights into how the world actually works. It conflicts with how you used to think the world works, so now you have to change your worldview. This requires you to humble yourself, if I'm being perfectly honest. This requires you to swallow your pride, and it's damaging to your ego to find out that you were wrong. But there's one thing I've noticed that is a universal trait amongst successful people. It's that they were able to admit that they were wrong about something. It also makes them extremely hard to control and manipulate when you're aware that you are, you were manipulated at some point by the mainstream narrative, by what we call blue pill lies, right? So take that solace that if you're able to actually get to this point, it is a good thing. Now, how do you kind of move on, and how do you get over the rage part, right? How do you stop blaming women for all of your problems? You see, women aren't the problem. It's your rejection of their true nature that's the problem. A tiger has stripes. Deal with it. Once you understand the nature of the beast that you're dealing with, it's a lot easier to come to terms with reality. You have to stop rejecting their nature. You have to stop, because that is where a lot of the frustration and red pill rage, in my opinion, actually comes from, is dudes who've kind of learnt this stuff, but they still hold on to this kind of lingering idea of, women being sugar and spice and everything nice, and this I like to call the Disney Hallmark bullshit fantasy. They're still, somewhere in their subconscious, they're still holding on to that as a fantasy. It's like, no, just accept women for what they actually are. Accept the nature of the beast, and learn to deal with it. Doesn't mean you can't love women. You can absolutely love women, but you need to love them for what they are, okay? Stop expecting them to be something that they're not. Let's take a really good example, like a current example right now. All the conflict that's been going on in the Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia. How many of these women fled the Ukraine? I mean, Ukraine was known for having the most beautiful women in the world, and they were actually quite well behaved. I've been to Ukraine, I've experienced it. They're actually quite nice women. And a whole bunch of them basically just fucked off out of the country and went to neighboring countries and sought shelter with dudes in those other countries. I know because I have friends who've taken a few women in various neighboring Eastern European countries. You might know who I'm talking about. Now, what is that? Like, they've left all the men, all the actual Ukrainian men, to die in conflicts, and the women have just fucked off. What does that tell you? Like, it just tells you, if you're red-pilled, that is evidence of true female nature. They're not going to stick around and fight. They're going to get the fuck out of there, and they're going to look for men who can keep them safe. It's just female nature. Stop, again, tiger got stripes. Stop expecting them to be something they're not. I don't hate women. I don't have a problem with women at all. I absolutely love women. But again, I'm going to reiterate this. I don't expect them to be something they're not. I expect them to be kind of retarded. I expect them to be goofy. I expect them to try and use their emotions, to manipulate people. I expect them to act manipulative because it's the only tool that they actually have. If you think about it this way, men get what they want, or traditionally, men got what they want out of the world through violence. That was the way that men went about solving problems and getting what they wanted out of the world. Women, on the other hand, they don't have the capacity for violence that men have. They're not as strong as us. They're not built for it. So what do? They use manipulation. They use emotion. They use coercion. Cool. That is their tool. If you understand that, that's fine. There's no reason to get mad at them for using that, right? It's that old fable of the scorpion and the toad, the scorpion and the frog, right? The scorpion asked the frog for a lift to get across the river. Maybe I'm bastardizing this fable, but screw you, I'm going to tell it my way. Scorpion says to the frog, "Can you give me a lift across the river? I promise I won't sting you." The frog says, "Okay, that makes sense. If you stung me, we're both going to die." Scorpion gets on the frog's back. The frog makes his way across the river. They're about halfway along. Scorpion stings the frog in the back. They both start to drown. The frog turns to the scorpion and says, "Why did you do that? Now we're both going to die." The scorpion just says, "It's in my nature." Simple. It's retarded, but it's in its nature. So how long does your red pill rage phase kind of last? In my opinion, this is actually a metric for how successful you will end up being in relationships and in your dating life, your sex life, moving forward. I think the sooner you get over that phase, that kind of anger and bitter and resentment phase, and you kind of move on with a new, more accurate worldview, the faster you're going to see success, and the more success you're inevitably going to see. The deciding factor is how quickly you move from rage to taking action. That taking action being improving yourself, working on your fitness, working on your finances, working on your social skills, working on your networking, working on your status. Understanding that you have to create something. You have to be a man of value, to be a man worth, to be attractive to women, you have to be a man worthy of that attraction. So once you accept that reality and start taking action towards that goal, you're going to get over this red pill rage phase a lot quicker. Accept that you were lied to about female nature for your whole life. And look, this is definitely harder. I'm not going to lie. This is definitely harder for older dudes to kind of get over. My friend had this analogy. It's like the red pill is like a suppository. And the older you are, the bigger the suppository gets. So if you're like an 18-year-old dude and you learn about the red pill, it's not that big of a deal. It's like, okay, cool. Now I get it. Now I can move on with the rest of my life. I feel like a 50-year-old dude who took the red pill like last year, that suppository is like this huge. It's like this giant red pill suppository. And it's like, it sucks. It's like, because you've got 50 years of unraveling and repackaging and reframing your life to do. And it is hard for dudes to kind of get through all that to get to really unpack absolutely every single instance of them being lied to and being manipulated because they didn't have a correct worldview. They didn't have an accurate way of describing female nature. But the most important thing, guys, is to quit the victim mindset. Don't be a victim. That is total bullshit. You're not a victim, okay? You're in control of your life. And personally, I'm glad I'm a fucking man. I am so glad I'm a dude and I'm not a chick. Yeah, some dudes might be like, oh, women have it so easy, women have it, it's so simple being a woman. Yeah, maybe for like, until you're like 24. And then you're screwed like the rest of your life. You just go downhill. My life gets better and better every single goddamn year. And that's the beauty of being a man. You can literally create whatever life you want. Think about it, as a woman, she's kind of ultimately dictated by her beauty. Like the kind of lifestyle she can live is dictated by the kind of man she can attract. And the kind of man she wants, who has a good lifestyle, well, he has lots of options. And she might just get used and discarded very quickly and easily. But you, as a man, can ultimately build a lifestyle that you want, whatever lifestyle you want. You can be as fun and as exciting or as wholesome, and traditional as you so choose. But you have that option. It's a beautiful thing. So there's no reason to go through this life with a victim mentality, with this, oh, woe is me, life is so hard, men have it so bad mentality. Accept that. Cool, yeah. The divorce courts are going to fuck you over. Okay, you know that now. So maybe we don't get married in the Western world. Okay, child support is going to suck. Well, so maybe don't have a child to a woman in the West under marriage laws. Like, you know the problem, so just avoid it. Easier said than done if you came across the red pill too late. But getting over that victim mentality is super important. Because if you keep seeing yourself a victim, you're gonna be a victim. I do not see myself as a victim in any way, shape, or form. There's been plenty of times in my life where I could have, but it's a part of this concept. Jocko Willink talks about this a lot, this idea of extreme ownership. Even if something isn't technically, objectively your fault, it's still your fault. Still take responsibility for every single outcome in your life. That idea, that is a very good concept. That concept of extreme ownership is the antithesis. It's the complete opposite of the victim mentality. And I think that's extremely important for guys to adopt that mentality because that is inevitably going to lead to success. Now, a great way of getting out of a victim mindset is to increase your testosterone levels. So I suggest you check out this playlist right here where I teach you a bunch of different techniques for doing exactly that.